Welcome back to Satisfactory once again. Last time we got started on this beautiful coal power plant, and we got the foundation laid out. Along the way, we got a little sidetracked while trying to find a solution to the water needs of all 80 coal generators. I ended up spending a lot of time working on miscellaneous tasks. Tasks like beginner research, setting up temporary coal generators, steel beam construction, and most importantly, the blueprint designer. With that being said, our first task of today's video is designing our roads. So I want there to be like a little curb on the road, but 1 meter seems a little high. I think it'll do though. I think it'll be fine. And I don't know if I want it 3 foundations wide. That might be much. Maybe I only need 2. Probably go every other foundation for lights. And do I want to go on both sides? Probably. So I've run into yet another problem. In order to get all the pipes I want, I need to get stackable pipeline supports, and I need to have logistics Mark III, which that's not a tall order, so I need to quick go do that. All right, logistics Mark III unlocked. Now I have stackable pipelines. They don't go upside down, do they? Uh-oh. Okay, so here is my complete road. This is a 4 foundation long section of road. I got my street lights. I've got curb with railing. I think it looks pretty good. And this is definitely enough room for a truck to fit through, I think. I think it looks good, really simple. But over a long stretch, it'll look nice. Downstairs, down below, I have pillars supporting it that'll connect to the ground, and these small pillars in between, so it looks nice. And then I have all of the pipelines I'm gonna need that will be transporting the water. Okay, so I've spent a while working around in the blueprint designer. Way longer than I'd like to admit. Just so much longer than I'd like to admit. And that's mainly because of this. So as you can see here, this looks like hot garbage. This is terrible. Especially the sidewalk. But as you can see, what I'm getting at here is for turns on my road, it will not be possible to do curves. Not with the design I chose. It's clearly just not going to work, unfortunately. So, curves are a big no-no. So I'm going to have to do this. Right here's the corner piece to my road. I think it looks pretty good. It hooked up to all the pipes. Oh, wow. All the pipes are hooked up. Looks good, looks decent. Does exactly what I'm going to need it to do. And then this is what a finished piece would look like. Right here's the straight. It looks nice. I think it's wide enough for the vehicles. We'll see in the practical use. But also, we'll have to see in placing it down along the world how well it's going to fit into areas, / how well it's going to be maneuverable. It's not very practical. Curves are way more practical, but what are you going to do when you choose a design like this? So I'm going to start placing this a little bit, see how it goes, what it looks like. And by the way, the only things that have to be connected with these blueprints, wire here, wires there, then all of the lights would be connected, and then on the down area, you would have to, this is actually an outdated. So now that I have the updated blueprint, all you would have to do to connect this, to get it up and running, is connect these pipes over, and then the wires. That's it. And then you are fully ready to go. So I'm going to get some of these put down, and I'm going to see how it goes. I'm also going to have to make a slope piece, so this exact same thing, but going down. So I'm going to quick do those things and then start placing. So I went ahead and I made my ramp piece, which I completely underestimated how difficult that would be. That was by far the most difficult piece. But I have it now looking great. And it's as easy as just line it up, place it. Pipes line up. Goes down, has the supporting pillars. The ramp perfectly lines up and looks great. All the kinks were worked out and it's nice and clean. Then I also made the left piece and a shorter road piece. One thing I will say is it does not work for me to put a corner piece right up against the ramp piece. It just does not work. You might think that this is a weird little intersection thing, but that is part of the design where afterwards I just have to come through, put the ramps, put ramp walls, kind of like that in the After Effect, and then it'll all be one nice clean transition. So now we have the left corner piece, snap in just like that. Clean transition, looks perfect. And down there, it looks like the pipes are lining up. Yep, and down here, the pipes all line up. Nice and seamless. This took an outrageous amount of time. I probably spent like 4 hours on these blueprints, but it'll all be worth it in the end because building it will go way quicker and it'll look great. So next is obviously to make the road. So I'm gonna get working on that then. So here we are at the site of where we're gonna have all of our water extractors. And right here is just the starting foundations where I'm gonna start placing the pieces of my road. But before we get into that, a couple things you might notice. It's not the same day as the last clip, so top left, there's no experimental banner. Update 8 is finally out, and don't have to play on experimental anymore. With Update 8, they showed a feature called Advanced Game Settings. You'll notice I did turn them on. I'm not going to abuse these in any way. I'm not going to select anything. All I want them for is flight mode whenever I go to do B-roll or something. So I actually won't use any of the settings when I'm actually playing. That is a promise. When designing these roads, there was one concern that was just in the back of my head the whole time, and I just kept thinking about it, and it's that no curves. I don't think having no curves is going to work. I think I'm going to have to compromise. And the compromise is going to look something like this. And here you can see my compromise. So, right off the bat, it actually doesn't look like anything major, right? I've refined it a little bit, so it's actually not as bad as it used to be. A couple things that are just minor details, but bug me. These lines don't line up. Slightly off. This curb here, it has to have little nubs that stick out, and then the overlap here, Z fights. Also, the railing, it's either have a gap or have it overlap like this. So I think overlapping looks better than the gap. And then on this side, I had to nudge them over a bit and it causes Z fighting again. So lots of Z fighting being the problem. The other big reason is I have to do a lot of manual work by hand then. I can't just plop down the blueprints and it be all good. I had to manually move these two in order to overlap. Before, there was a gap here in this corner. Same with over here. They were overlapping way more. Not a big deal. In the end, I'm liking how it's looking, and I think this is where I'm gonna rest with the roads. I need to add one more curve to this, so I'll walk you through how I actually go and place the curves. Choose the blueprint I want, and I've been doing my 2 long ones. And then I need to first take these out, and then get out my crossings, and then start my curve like I would any other curve. Place those, get rid of those. Now I have it on the level that I would like to actually place my blueprint. Bring those over. Get my 2x long road. And then use the wonderful lock feature, and then I nudge it into place. Nudge it over until that crosses. As easy as that. Now I'll have to scooch those over and scooch these in. But other than that, it is as simple as that. Also, one thing, I think there's way too many streetlights. Those are way too close. So I think I'm gonna move it rather than I had it one every 2 foundations. I think I'm gonna do one every 4 because man, those are super close. The first curve is complete, and now we move on to the straights. As you can see, curves on. A little bit of Z fighting there. Making me question the lines, I won't lie. I will not lie. For now, I'll leave it. And if it really bothers me, I'll get rid of it. But for now, I'll leave it. Using the magical powers update 8 has given me, I am able to get a nice flight overview of the road thus far. And, you know, all the little details I was talking about earlier, it's hard to notice them from up here. From an overall perspective, it's not bugging me as much, I gotta say. I'll take you down the path that I intend to use for the road. I intend to bring it out, go wrap around this through the forest, go down and around the ramp, basically following the sand. Coming along, I'll have to demolish that, go through, kind of meet up where this is, turn in, and then have this be the entrance of the factory. I believe I've decided that'll be best. I'll have to change where my intake is, but that is no big deal. So placing them, obviously the whole point in blueprints, make it super easy. Now as I'm going through, I gotta determine when I want to do my turns, and for that I'm thinking here is where I'll start my next turn. So now that I have my foundations placed, that'll put my blueprint on, do my 2 long, and use the wonderful nudge feature. They just keep improving the blueprints, and man, it makes my life so much easier. I love it. Before, it was just sitting there fighting for the snap points. Now I don't have to deal with any of that. What would be nice, however, is if I could do a free place and I wouldn't actually have to use a snap point. I could just choose where I wanted to be able to snap, or choose the option to not have snapping. Kind of like if you were just placing freely on the ground like that. If I could have that as an option, it would be great. There's a lot that I could do with that. So as I'm going through this, I'm going to ignore connecting the pillars to the ground for now. I'll leave that for later. And also connecting all the pipes up, I'll leave it for later. I'll do it in one big pass. Now I need to just rinse and repeat until I have this curve complete. So I had one of those moments where you're just like, damn. I forgot to record it, unfortunately, but I made my road. I got the curve all the way down, and I was right there over here. I got right here, and then I realized that my pipes were clipping into the ground, and so much that the bottom pipes were covered up. So I went to try to place my ramp, of course, you know, that's the obvious solution. But as you can see, the blueprint's a bit weird. It's floating. I accidentally made it one too high, and I couldn't adjust it in the blueprint designer. I have to go back and make the ramp all the way over here and restart my curve again, which sucks, but it doesn't take that long with the blueprint. Let's get back to where I was. Let me just take a second to appreciate Update 8 zip lines. This makes early game travel so much better than what it used to be. Before it was like Blade Runners as your only option. Now zip lines are even way faster than Blade Runners. Might have to actually just make simple little power pole networks going over to each plant early game. I wonder if I can zip across these lights without falling off my wire. Oh, that sucks. Missed opportunity there. Gonna go down one more and then transition back into on the ground. I think. So we got all those. I don't think I would even be able to place another, but I think this is where I use one of the corner pieces that I made. Instead of going through the trouble of making the curves to go all the way around, which would look nice, I'm definitely going to use my corner piece. So if I use a couple of these, lock it in, nudge it into place, bam. As easy as that. Thanks, update 8. And now we can place our right turn. Gonna have to chop down some trees. We have our turn now, and quick scout out what direction I want this to go. So I want it to go pretty much straight this way. So I think I'm gonna have it shoot out a little bit more, and then I'll start my curves. Okay, now we start our turns. Actually, I need to go on this side. On second thought, as I'm going through this turn, I definitely am gonna have to start turning immediately after this this corner, unfortunately. So I had to go to base to restock on items to build more of my road. And as I was doing that, I was thinking, hey, if I'm gonna go all the way back, I might as well try out using a vehicle on the road. So I quick unlocked the tractor, as slow as it is, but there we go. Some fuel in there. First use of our road. The real question will be the sharp turn down here. How well do vehicles handle it? Oh, it's not a big deal. We'll see with the big truck, but for now, not a big deal. So as you can see here, I have finished my curve here, and I'm about to head straight off for a little bit. I've also placed all of my lights where I want them. I've yet to plug them in though. Made the ramp complete and this nice little curve. Continuing straight. And now this makes me wonder, at what point should I go into my decline? I think actually this one I just placed should be the starter decline. Now, this one is going to be difficult probably. Or at least the next one. So all of this is going to be in the way. Which is in the way right now, actually. Is that lined up? Yes, it is. So here is when the real problem begins. When I want to decline all the way down close to the ground. I don't know if I have a way of making it work. But I just came up with an idea. Maybe it'll work. Maybe if I try to place the ramps on the underbelly of a foundation. That's what I gotta do. That's gonna be trial and error, trying to figure out what to do with that. So if I had to place them 5 above, maybe if I place them 5 below? So it looks close. Okay, that's it. That's it right there. Perfect. Now I just need to go run for the resources, and then we have our decline. I am so glad I thought of from doing it on the underside. Otherwise, I would have just spent so long manually doing that. That's a big save right there. Got all of my resources. Now placing the down ramp. Nudge it on over. Bam. It's actually at a really nice height right there. Oh. I am off by a meter. So evidently my idea didn't work, because I have like this half a meter gap here. Not quite sure what has caused that or how to fix it. Maybe if I make it extend out and then try to connect to another downslope, maybe that'll work. I've got my straight piece. Don't know why this would change anything, but I'm desperate at this point. Appears to be the same issue. Got another idea. Maybe if I bring that over and then I try to connect it from the bottom and then nudge it over or rotate it, maybe. I'm actually too low. That's a great sign. Okay, I got it. There we go. I'm gonna do that same thing, but I think I'm gonna try continuing the downslope. I don't really like having the random flat. Let's see if I can somehow get it to work without doing that. Because if I'm able to place it on this and it connect. Yep, okay, I can do this. Okay, and there we go. I got it connected. That was a struggle, but we got there in the end. I think I might just have to be satisfied with this elevation, because I don't want the pipes to go underground, obviously. So I'm gonna have it curve on around, and then I think just hook straight into the building here. So let's go ahead and get a straight going. So now that I have my down ramp, I want to turn. Oh, I kind of want to hook that way a little bit and then back in. So from this side, I'll go ahead and do my crossings. So now here's the trial and error part where I got to figure out how much I need to curve over to actually get head on with the building. All of this is on the world grid, so I shouldn't have an issue doing this. This is looking kind of promising that I might actually line it up with first shot. Actually, no. Let me see if I can figure a way to measure it out. Okay, so I'm close. As you can see here, I am oh so very close from being in the middle. This is kind of my target right here. I want to be able to hit this right here. So my thought here, maybe if I go straight for one singular tile, honestly, I will take just getting close. That is about as close gets, I'd say. So I'll take it. Let's go ahead and build this. So as you can see here, my measuring wasn't exactly accurate. We'll see how it ends up, I guess. Looks like I'm off by a bit just because once I actually do my turn, it doesn't equal out to actually just being 2 crossings. Or 4 crossings. Would you look at that? I'm pretty dang close. I'll take it. I will take this. And with the beauty of asphalt, I can just plop it wherever I want and it'll look decent. I don't have to worry about kind of like the pattern that concrete has going on. Be able to make a nice little parking lot here. I'm going to make a parking lot here. Then I'll have an entrance into the building. And maybe a little reception area, and it'll look great. I'm going to first finish off the road before I get started on that. Give it the polish. I have just finished putting the final touches and the polishing onto the top side of the bridge. As you can see, it's looking quite nice, I think. As we follow along, you can see little things Z fighting through there. I will have to go back and fix those. But I can do that when I start working on the underside and the pipeline, I believe. Go up, all the lights are symmetrically placed. This is my favorite part of the bridge when it goes right through the forest. Have some of the trees overhanging the road. Looks great. Go all the way down. Once we start getting to the end of the bridge, where it goes underneath this natural arch, you can see that I have merged it in with the ground. And my plan for this is to have the truck then run across this natural bit of ground up until probably about this point, where it'll then go back onto a bridge. But I like to add a little bit of the natural road or natural terrain into the road. I think it'll look nice, and I could probably add markers or something along to give it a nice aesthetic. So there is the top side finished. Now is the very, very tedious part of connecting all the pipelines down under. As you can see, between each section here, I will have to go through and add all of these connections, as well as connect to all of these supports down to the ground. So I'm gonna go ahead and get working on that, but it is going to take some time and it's absolutely uninteresting. So I probably will just skip showing any of it until it's done. So as I'm starting to connect all these pipes, I am seeing some of the flaws in my blueprints that I'll have to fix. Things like this, when I go to do the angles, they clip into each other, so I'm just gonna have to delete the pipe and then the hole and then connect it up like that. So as you can see here, the pipes run all the way up to the front almost. I think I'm going to change the blueprint, so instead of the wall hole being right here, I think I'll make it like all the way at the end of the pillar or something, so that there's plenty of room to connect and I don't have to delete anything. So I'm going to make the change, that kind of change to the blueprint, just to make it easier for future roads. Here we have my finished bridge. I went ahead and I added all the pillars underneath, connected all of the pipelines, and it looks pretty clean, I think. The overall layout still the same. Comes all the way around this way, down through the forest, back and over to the factory. I think I worked out most of the errors that I made, so it should just work, hopefully. Maybe some of the pipes are incorrectly configured, but we'll see later. Now I'm ready to make my parking lot, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to make my water extractors and get the water flowing into the pipes. So the first step is going to be getting these pipes running out from underneath the bridge and out into where the extractors will be. So I'm just going to do a bend here, basically what I did with all the corner pieces. I have hooked them all up, as you can see. Now is just to place the water extractors and then run all the water to it. So I'll go ahead and get my foundations out of where the pipes will be running. I think I'll just have this be one long platform. So I think for the setup that I want to do, I'm going to have 5 extractors splitting into 2 different pipes. And my reasoning for that is that each water extractor produces 120. So obviously that doesn't cleanly go into 300. So what I'll do is I'll have 2 water extractors going into one pipe, 2 into the other, and then the final one will split going into both. And I'll quick show you what that's going to look like. I will use my stackables. And then have this down here. I'll need to raise this up. So I'll have my catwalk above. And then I will have my pipes feed into this. 5 along each seems to be a much more reasonable ask out of this area. That way I only have to do 6 of these little segments. So now that I have my water extractors placed, I'm going to be splitting it into these double stacked. And then those double stacked are going to feed into the wall. I overbuilt it to have 16 when I really only need 12, so only 12 of these are going to be used for now. I just wanted to leave some future expandability. Whether or not that gets used, I don't know, but we'll find out in the future. So I'm going to connect these all up. The pipes go down slightly like that, which is kind of annoying. But all in all, I don't care, if I'm honest. In order to get my junction that I want, kind of similar to this, but on a higher level, I will simply bring that over there. Then I will add my junction cross manually on top of it. Do noodle. And in order to make this work so that I can have this extractor splitting into both pipelines, I'm going to make it run. I'm going to have it go up, in, at another junction that splits going down. I might as well just butt it up against that one. And then have it run that way. It does a weird dip. Does noodle fix it? Not really. The answer is not really. Let's try the opposite. So it looks like at the current height that I'm doing, it isn't exactly working out. It isn't nice angles, so maybe I elevate this bottom level to be in line, and then I do the same for the stackables. Let's try that once. It doesn't seem with the current elevation that I have everything on that I'm able to do everything nice and clean straight from the extractors or at the splitter. So I don't think I'm gonna worry about it too much, because I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's a bit off, I'll say, but it doesn't look bad. So we'll just keep it like that, and we'll go with that. Also, as you can see, I'm still kind of deciding on what I want my factory colors to be. I'm thinking I'm gonna land on black, maybe a gray and a white. We'll see. Black and white is typically my favorite color combo, but I know it doesn't always look the greatest for factory builds. As I am putting this all together, I've already copied and pasted 4 of them. I've run into a problem. So I needed 6 total lines of these in order to get the amount of water I need, but I've run out of room. The same problem as I had down at the actual coal facility. So I'm gonna have to overclock these. I got these set up in the back. Just one of these per pipe. 250% will give me the 300 I need, and then I'll just do that for all 4 of these back here. Back here I have to do a little bit of clipping, but since it's all the way in the back, it's gonna go pretty unnoticed, so I'm okay with that. I will have to go collect a whole bunch of power shards, so that's my next step, and once I get this all connected and power sharded up, we'll be good to go. On my search for power slugs, I might have wandered a little bit away from base, which is all the way over there. You can see my wonderful bridge from here. The water extractors where I've been working. I have made it back to base, and I have quite the loot haul here. I've got 5 yellows, 2 purple, and 22 blues. The starter area was pretty good for collecting all the blues. There's a lot scattered around there. And then I also managed to get 2 hard drives from crashed ships. So I'll go ahead and start those being researched. 10 minutes a pop. So now with the needed power shards, I will be able to overclock the water extractors and actually get the water pumped into the pipes. 12 is all I need for now. I'm not going to overmake, because I actually might want to use power slugs as sort of a decorative piece in my coal power plant. I have kind of an idea to fill out dead space with them. Oh. It appears I can't even turn it on. Wow. Okay. Just out of curiosity, how much power does a single streetlight take? Just 1 megawatt. And I have a lot of them. And then I also have all these. So I think I'll have to just start with a fraction of the total water extractor. So maybe I just get 1 pipe going, or 1 set of extractors going for the time being. If I just disconnect there, then those should be disconnected. And then if I disconnect here, temporarily go like that. Does that let me still go? It does. Alright, so we got 1 set running. These 2 pipes should get full. Now let me place the power shards in here, even though I won't be able to turn it on for some time. To be honest, I didn't even think about these consuming so much, because yeah, that's 600 megawatts just in water extractors, and my total capacity was 600, right? My total capacity is 700, and that's with biomass burners hooked up too, so Yeah, it'll have to be a sec before I can actually get everything turned on. I'll have to turn on the factory in segments. So it looks like I would actually be able to turn on these 5. So if we disconnect this, connect this, there. So we can have 2 sets going for now. So that's 1200 water we got going. And this pipe and this pipe. So let's go check the back end and see if it actually arrives at the coal power plant. Another thing to consider is I probably will need pumps to actually push all the water over here. So I will be very surprised if anything actually arrives over here. Probably should have followed it from the bottom instead. So it should be on the outside. Pipelines. Dry as expected. Nothing here, nothing here. So let's go find where I need to actually install pumps. And to be honest, I probably should have waited a little bit longer to see if the water does get there. But I don't think it will. So doesn't look like, it looks like I already missed a segment, connecting a segment like right off the bat. Figured this was gonna happen. Here's the culprit. Let me turn off global illumination so I can get some actual light. As you can hear, I got the water flowing a bit. Let's see how far along it goes. My real concern was just getting to this point pretty much. Once it goes downhill, it'll all do it itself and gravity do it. So now we are back at the coal power plant and we can see the water pipes and that they now have water. So the water lines are completely finished. And now all we need to do is connect it up to our generators. And that means I can actually begin work on the power plant again. It's been a long time and a lot of buildup just to be able to get the water here. So all I need to do is quick grab some more resources to get all of the generators placed and then continue building it. All of the coal generators have been put into place and this is what it looks like with all of them in. And man, does that thing look like a beast. Just looks like a tank and it's so compact with all of the generators along the sides. I'm really liking it. Before I start completing the power plant, there is a couple preparations I need to make. Earlier in the last video, there was a couple things I knew I would need to have. Namely, I need to get explosives. I need to be able to blow up that rock. Then I also need to be able to get a Mark II miner on all of the nodes, which that should be relatively easy. But Mark IV conveyors are another requirement. I need to quick see what I need to be able to get them. But we might have to make do with Mark III, which I already have. Here we are back at the hub. And it appears that we're going to have to get Space Elevator Phase 2 done before I'll be able to get Mark IV conveyors. And I'm just not going to do that before getting the power plant done. I'll just upgrade it later down the road. So we're just going to have to make do with 270 coal a minute rather than 300, which isn't a big deal. That's just 2 generators per row. So that's a total of 16 generators that won't be able to be used, which is fine. We'll still get most of them online and then just upgrade later on. With that being said, this is all the time I have for this video. Next time we will quickly complete the preparations and put all focus on completing the coal power plant. It has been a lot of unexpected buildup to get to this point, but it is what it is. As always, I appreciate everyone who has watched the video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. See ya.